Hey there, this is Mr. Kyle at Myers Mathematics. Today is day 2 of our factoring series. Alright, so today it's the third. So it's an odd day. We're going to do 3 problems today. We're going to do x squared plus x minus, and let's see what's today. So 3, 2, we want to do 12. There we go. We're going to do 12, x squared plus x minus 12, and of course it's negative version, as I showed you guys yesterday. And then, since today is an odd day, we're only going to do 3 problems, so I'm only going to do x squared plus x minus 20 today. So if you've been thinking ahead or noticing a pattern, which I hope you are, because that's like the whole trick to doing math really well, is looking for patterns, then you might know what the video is going to be for tomorrow. If you do, and you figure it out before I release that video, let me know in the comments. But yeah, we've got 3 of them, so let's dive right in. Let's do all 3. So x squared plus x minus 12. So if you've been watching the video so far, you know that we don't need to worry about this x squared right here. As far as the number in front being a 1, we can just kind of ignore it. All we're going to do is factor the 12. Now there's a ton of factors for 12. So I haven't mentioned this yet before, but there's 2 ideas that I have on this. You can either just kind of scan in your head, just kind of think of some factors until you think of something that makes 1, and just kind of do it that way, or you can just write them all out, just all the factors. So if you can think of 2 factors that multiply to give you 12, negative 12, and then subtract to give you 1, they have to subtract if this is a negative, by the way, then go for it. But I'm going to show you the brute force way, the exhaustive way, I guess, of doing all of them, because if you do all of them, then one of them has to work, right? And if it doesn't, then it's not factorable, at least not for integer numbers. So let's just do all of them, because I figure if you already know the factors that give you 1, then you're already good to go. So check it out, 1 and 12. All right, well, one of them has to be negative, and since we want a positive 1, that means that the larger number needs to be positive in order for me to get a positive answer when I subtract, right? So 12 minus 1 is 11, positive 11. We want a positive number, so we want the 12 to be positive. If the 12 is negative, it would be negative 11, right? So that's why I'm doing that. Well, that's not going to work. That's 11. That's missing a digit, right? Or actually, it has an extra digit, I should say. So that's not going to work. So I just go to the next thing. Does 2 go into 12? Yes. Yes, it does. 2 times 6. And if I subtract those, I get 4. So I'm still not quite there. Does 3 go into 12? Yeah, it does. 3 times 4. And there we go. There's all the factors, right? Because the only thing after 3 that would work would be a 4, and then I just have 4 times 3, and that would be redundant. I'd just be saying it backwards. So these are all the factors that would work. And these first couple here don't work. They don't subtract to give me 1, but this one does. Negative 3 plus 4 is 1, or if you set it in reverse, 4 minus 3 give you 1. So just throw x's in front, and you're done. All right, so if I wanted to do the opposite one, x squared minus x minus 12, same thing, right? And since we were talking about that other method, let's just kind of go for it. I want to get a 1, right, when I subtract a negative 1 this time. And you kind of already saw from before that we already know what it's going to be, right? It's going to be the 3 and the 4. So I'm just going to go for it, right? 3 and 4. I don't want the 3 to be negative. I want the 4 to be negative, because 3, right, positive 3 minus 4, 3 minus 4 is negative 1. Negative 1, right? That's what I want. So just throw x's in front. Didn't leave myself quite enough space that time, but I squeezed it in anyways. And we're done. All right, so let's crank out that last one. So that last one, if you remember, was x squared plus x minus 20. So if you get better at this over time, right, because I don't want to assume how good you are at factoring so far. If you get better at this over time, you can just kind of think of them in your head, right? 1 times 20 is 20, right? But that would be 19, so that's not going to work. 2 times 10, right? That multiplies to give me 20, but if I subtract, it gives me 8. So that doesn't work either. And you just cycle through them until you find the one that works. So you can do that. And then eventually you'll end up with 4 and 5. 20 does not go into 3, so I wouldn't have even have tried that, right? So I would go from 1 to 2, skip 3, and then get a 4 here. So those are all the factors. And I want a positive 1, so I want -4 and +5. And there you go.